Well, with just a few weeks left in 2020, there are many people eager to put their year behind them. But before the clock strikes midnight on New Year's Eve, there are a few things you may need to consider when it comes to your personal finances. And here to answer some of your questions in regards to finances in the age of COVID-19 is Jessica Morehouse. She is a personal finance expert as well as an accredited financial counselor who joins us in Toronto. Jessica, so good to have you on the program. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Listen, I want to begin with what we're now hearing from many viewers, that Revenue Canada is essentially asking them to pay back the money that they received under the CERB, drawing a distinction, it seems here, between gross and net income. To that, I want to bring up a question here, and perhaps you can explain the whole situation as you answer this question. This is from many viewers. This is what they ask. Why is the CRA, the Canada Revenue Agency, drawing a distinction between gross and net income when it comes to CERB eligibility? Because it seems that months after the fact, people are being told, actually, you shouldn't have gotten that check.
Yeah, I was getting so many questions about, am I eligible or not, over and over again throughout the spring. And if you were to look at the CRA's website, all the different web pages about CERB, it was very vague and very unclear. And so I completely understand the confusion because they did not specify, especially if you're self-employed, when you say income, what do you actually mean? Do you mean my total business revenue or my income after expenses? What do you mean? And it really wasn't that clear. I'm always very, well, if it's the CRA, it's probably going to be, not what you expect it to be. And so a lot of people assumed it was business revenue or how much they earned before business expenses were taken off. And so they applied, they got the CRB, and now they're being told, sorry, you actually weren't eligible, you have to pay that back. And obviously they spent it because they needed it to pay for groceries or rent. And so a lot of people now are having to pay back the payments that they received, and they don't necessarily have the money to pay it back.
Well, listen, I want to pick up the point that you made that there was confusion because of what was written in the Service Canada website. In fact, I went to Services Canada, take a look what is on the website still, and it's hard to tell because of the size of that font. But the third bullet point there, essentially they say you qualify for CERB if you had employment and or were self-employed, had income of at least $5,000 in 2019 or the 12 months prior to the date of their application. No distinction here when it comes to gross income, net income. Is it fair to then go back to Canadians and say, you know what, the thousands of dollars that helped you survive through 2020, we want that back before the end of the year?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's fair. I think the CRA should have made it very clear what amount they were talking about. Because again, I was getting these questions in the spring, so were they. So they should have updated the website to specify what did they mean, and they still haven't. And so I personally feel like the problem is them. They should have made it more clear. But I think it is right now not very clear how to fight against this. How can you really be like, well, I want to fight this claim that you think I'm not eligible because I believe I am. So far, it's very unclear how to actually go about doing that.
Well, and let me pick up on that point because, we're talking about, what, $10,000 at the very least, if not more, from what people have received over, the course of this pandemic. And in good times, that money, people don't have that in the bank, generally speaking. And in 2020, it's hard to believe those that went to CERB would actually have that money in the bank. So what should someone do if they don't have the money to pay back the CRA by, as the CRA is asking, the end of this calendar year?
Yeah, well, from what I've seen, it's a kind of a hard suggestion on repaying it. I think if you don't repay it this year, you're still going to be on the hook to pay it. If you really don't know how to navigate this, I feel like the best thing to do is to contact a CPA or a tax accountant to see what can we do. Can you look at all of my information from this year, all of my income and expenses, and see what we can do together to see if there is any way to kind of fight against this or to find the money somewhere. But so far, it looks like no matter what, if you got the letter, you're going to be on the hook to pay it. I'm hoping, though, because a lot more people are discussing this and outraged by this, the CRA will come back with some sort of resolution. And
we should also point out, because I do want to bring in now a question from a viewer by the name of Joni, because even if you don't have to pay all the money back, it seems that there's going to be income tax on this. This is what Joni's asking. I'm wondering if the CERB recipients will have to pay income tax on the monies received.
Absolutely. Now, this I felt like was more clear. They did say it was taxable income. Again, I think a lot of people during kind of the height of the pandemic may not have read all of the fine print, all of the information, and so kind of maybe assumed, well, if they wanted taxes off, that they would have, withheld some of those taxes like an employer would do. They did not do that. They gave you the full payment and expected you to save a percentage for income taxes. And I guarantee you most people did not do that. And so when you file your taxes for 2020 and 2021, you will have to claim that as taxable income, just like employment income.
Okay, listen, we have about a minute, but I want to ask you a more grandiose question here, because, we did also hear from the Bank of Canada earlier this week, and they essentially say that they're going to be keeping interest rates very low for the years to come. Talk to us about how people should take advantage of these low interest rates in this moment in time, because we're not talking about just one calendar year. It seems the suggestion is it's going to be for multiple years.
Yeah, I would have to agree. As a millennial, when has it not been a low interest environment? So I'm like, yeah, what else is new? This is a great opportunity, I think, to look at if you have any kind of debt, see how we can kind of use this to your advantage. Maybe that's consolidating some of your high interest debt into a lower interest loan. Maybe this is renegotiating your mortgage. I know a lot of people are doing that. Their terms are coming up. This is a great opportunity for that, or same with your car loans. Seeing what you can do to benefit from this so you can pay less interest on your debts. Another thing I think that's really important is to really take this as an opportunity to look at your complete financial picture, making sure you have that emergency fund, because we really don't know what's going to happen the next few years, how long it will take to recover from this pandemic. So, take care of yourself. Make sure your emergency fund is a priority. Pay down your debt. And if you have no debt, you have an emergency fund, this is a great opportunity to start investing, because you're not going to be making that much money on, cash in a savings account.
Okay, Jessica, great information. Thank you for this. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
And that is personal finance expert Jessica Morehouse.